All right, so here's your answer for this one. We have this class that's called username, and it creates an instance variable of an array list type string called possible names. We're going to write two methods: the constructor, which takes two string parameters. Then we're also going to write the set available usernames, which takes a string array in there. And then they give us a helper method, which is called isUsed, which will be explained in part B. Okay, so part A, write the constructor for the username class. The constructor initializes and fills possible names with possible usernames based on the first name and last name parameters. The possible usernames are obtained by concatenating last name with different substrings of first name. The substrings begin with the first character of first name, and the lengths of the substrings take on all values from 1 to the length of first name. All right, so our example here will help us out. So if we create a new username person called John Smith, then the possible usernames would be Smith, last name, plus the first character, J, or Smith Joe, or Smith Jaw, or Smith John. Okay. All right, so that's it. We got to write our constructor. So I'm going to go over to my IDE here. Okay, so I've created the class here, and I have a toString that's going to help me out. That wasn't even part of the problem. It's just so we can check our work. And then I've got the isUsed method down here, which we'll use in part B. All right, so creating this constructor. Okay, the first thing you have to do, possible names has been created up here. It's an array list type string, possible names, but it has not been constructed. So inside your constructor, you have to construct the array list. Okay, so you start with the name of it. Possible names equals new array list of type string with your parentheses and your semicolon. Okay, so the array list has now been constructed, so now we can actually add stuff to it. Okay, so we're going to do a loop for int I equals. Okay, if I think about it, I want to do substrings of first name, and so my first substring go from 0 to 1. Okay, so I'm not going to start at I equals 0 because then I might go 0 to 0. So I'm going to start at I equals 1. And then I want I to be less than the first name dot length. Okay, but if I do that, then I don't get that last character. Okay, it'll stop 1 too early. And the reason it stops 1 too early is because I started at 1 instead of starting at 0. So I'm just going to switch this to an equal to first name dot length, and that should take care of that problem for me. All right, then do I plus plus. All right, and so we are going to concatenate the last name with the substring of the first name, and we're going to add that to our possible names. So possible names dot add parentheses, right? And we don't need to worry about the index. We just want to add them one after the other. So we're going to add last name plus first name dot substring. We're always going to start at 0, the first character, and we're going to go to I. So it's going to go 0 to 1, and then 0 to 2, 0 to 3, and so on. All right, and I think that'll do it. So I've got my runner over here. Here's my person that's been created, and I'm printing out person, and that's using my toString that I made to help us with the output here. So we should see an output that matches Smith J, Smith Joe, Smith Jaw, and Smith John, just like their output there. All right, so part B is write the username methods, set available usernames. The method removes from possible names all names that are found in used names, all right, which is a different list. Okay, these represent usernames that have already been assigned in the online system and are therefore unavailable. So the helper method isUsed has been provided. The isUsed method searches for a name in array in R. The method returns true if an exact match is found and returns false otherwise. Okay, so here's an example. Here is a used array, Harta, Hartim, Harti. Then they create a new person, Mary, Hart. And so the possible usernames for Mary Hart would be Hartim, Hartma, Hartmar, and Hartmary. Then if they call set available usernames, they're going to edit possible names by removing anything that's already been used. So the only one that's actually been used is Hartim. So heart M would get removed, and you'd have the three heart Ma, heart Mar, heart Mary left over. All right, so assume the constructor works as specified, so we can ignore what we wrote on part A and assume it works properly. You must use the is-used method appropriately. So you could do this by hand, but A, that's going to take longer, and B, you're going to lose a point because they told you have to use the is-used method. All right, so I'm going to go back over to my IDE editor here. Okay, this in my main class, this is going to test that part, so I'm going to delete the comments now so we're ready to test when I finish. All right, so set available usernames. Okay, so if you were going to remove items from a list, okay, mostly an array list is what I'm talking about here. You don't want to start at the beginning because let's say I remove 0, then that shifts everything to the left. Okay, and now I have a new 0, but then my loop iterates to 1. So that item that was at 0 is I skipped it. Because I removed an item, it shifted over, then I moved over, so I skipped an item. That happens every time you remove one if you start at the beginning. So you want to start at the end of your list and work your way back. Okay, so let's try that. So for int I is equal to, okay, we're going through possible names. So possible names dot size, names dot size, and size -1. Because the end of the list is one item less than the actual size. We want to go until I is greater than or equal to 0. We want to go as long as I is greater than or equal to 0. And we want to go I minus minus because we're going backwards. Okay, and then I want to check if each name is already in my used names, which is a parameter right here. So we're going to use that is used method. This is the is used method. It takes a string and an array, and it checks to see if the string is in the array, and it returns true if it is, and it returns false if it's not. So we're going to have an if. Is used is already a Boolean, so you don't need an equal or anything like that. You can just put the is used method right inside your if, put in a string for the first part. So that's going to be our possible names dot get I, because each possible name is a string, and comma, and we want to check if that string is in used names, the array that they gave me in the parameter up there. Okay, if that is true, then we have to remove that item from our array list, possible names. So possible names dot remove I. All right, that should be good. So I've got my second, I got my used array created here. Got my new person, Mary Hart. I'm going to call set available usernames. And then again, I'm printing it out just so we can check our work here. So let's go see how this goes. All right, and you see our new array, Heart M, not included because that was in used up there, but I have Heart Ma, Heart Mar, Heart Mary. Okay, if you want to double check again, let's put Heart Mar in my used list and run it again. And there you go. No more Heart Mar in my list. Heart Ma and Heart Mary are still there. All right, so there's your answer key for that. Hope you enjoyed.